Hello and welcome to Kirk Farms. We're back with another episode of UMRV Upper Mississippi River Valley, and today we're going to be wrapping up all this spring work that we've had going on the last couple episodes. I've got the mowing done out here already, and if you look over there, we do have the slurry spreader moving on this field already because there's a lot of ground to cover here, so I wanted to go ahead and get that started. And this poor baler has been just working non-stop trying to catch up with the swather here, and this is one of the main reasons why we haven't bothered to upgrade this swather to something bigger, is that it covers ground so fast that really the baler's what's slowing us down. Now I could rake this into some more combined windrows, I suppose, and then the baler would have less work to do. So I think that would be the next purchase we're going to make for the next cutting here. We're going to get a rake, something that can hopefully take a few of these windrows and combine them down so that the baler has a better chance of keeping up. It just means that we won't necessarily be able to run them in the same field at the same time, or maybe I won't be able to start the rake until we kind of get it moving ahead of the rest of the stuff. Now I'm seeing that we're getting a message that the worker down there is stuck on something. I'm guessing it's a bale, so I'm going to hop in the pickup truck here real quick and go pick up these bales, see if I can keep that guy moving. We want to get this slurry spread on this field. Now I'm actually surprised it made it that far. I was kind of expecting it to be out of a slurry after the first round, so it looks like we're doing all right. I did purchase the soil data for this field, not because it was out of date, but because we combined the fields and added a huge chunk down in the corner over there, and we didn't have any soil samples for that part of the field, and we went ahead and purchased that so that we could do this spreading. Now I'm just realizing I am getting full up on bales here before I'm even getting down here to get the one that's hanging up our slurry spreader here, so maybe we should have left ourselves a little space. I don't see anything. What are we? Oh, there was one under there. My bad. And I still haven't figured out why it pops off the trailer like that every time something goes wrong. But let's see if I can move this guy out of the way. This baler is going to be coming through here. There we go. And now I've got to move the truck out of the way. Everything's just in the way all of a sudden. Give me just a second there, worker. You're getting ahead of yourself a bit. And should I start this guy off yet? Oh, how much do we got left? We've got 19% left. I'm going to let that baler keep going and make some room here. This slurry spreading is going a lot faster than I anticipated. I guess it is skipping 3 rows at a time, which explains why we're way over here. I was kind of expecting it to take some time over on the other side of the field there, but is what it is. In fact, it wouldn't have been so bad if it had skipped past exactly where the baler happens to be making its up-down rows right now. But things just didn't align for us today. I'm going to run these bales back up to the yard here, and then we'll come back out and get the swather. I've got to remember to grab the conditioner on the way back over to the farm too. We don't want to leave that out here. I'll never remember where it is if it sits out here for too much longer. And I've got those bales dropped off there. I figured we've done that a million times, and no reason to bore y'all with unloading a stack of bales for the dozenth time on this field, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can figure out how to get this conditioner hooked up now. And by the time we've done that, hopefully the baler will moved over a few rows and I can start the slurry spreader going again. Now I know this box is supposed to have some kind of a mark on it to show me which side the front of it is. I want to say it's this. I'm just going to put it out here on the road so I can see it. There's some writing on that side. There's some writing on that side. I thought at one point there was like an arrow that pointed forward, but maybe I'm just crazy. Who knows? So what we're going to do is, because it was oriented that way, and I seem to remember driving off of it, we're going to see if I can back over it and reconnect it. There it is. No problems whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get this brought back up to the farm then. It does need some fuel, and it looks like a little bit of maintenance. So we'll drive this thing by the fuel tank first and get it put back over in the shed. We've got a full semi-tank of slurry there, and I believe the one in front of the biogas plant is fairly full as well. So now that we've moved the time forward by a day here, I'm going to need to do a little bit of management on our productions and make sure that those are going to stay running. We haven't necessarily been laser focused on that because we've increased the capacities to a point where I only have to manage moving the materials around once every couple of days now, hopefully. So I'm just wanting to make sure that our slurry pits on the barns aren't getting full at any point. I think we've got a few days worth of capacity on them though. And we'll get the tankers moving and keep that digestate processing though, because we are now using up quite a bit of it on these grass fields. And the nice thing about using it on the grass fields like this is that we're going to have to apply some multiple times on these grass fields as we go through the year, because we're going to cut the grass at least 3 times this year. So I think since we're up in the yard anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump in this semi, and we'll take the semi over to grab that semi-trailer in front of the biogas and at least start that emptying out. And if we can, we'll go ahead and get it completely emptied out and start filling from the slurry tanks on the 2 big barns, because I haven't been over there to do that in a little while. The trailer that's over here by the small barn, I've been grabbing the slurry out of the smaller barn here a number of times as I've walked by that semi, but I've not been paying attention to the A and B barn pits at all in the last several episodes. So we'll pull right in here. Hopefully this is gonna work out super easy. I don't think we're gonna have any problems. There we go, and we'll start unloading. It's only got 43% in here. Not the fastest unload, so maybe I will let this run for a minute. And we'll just jump into the biogas screen here and double check. We've got quite a bit of capacity for slurry here. I'm actually surprised we're processing that fast. I guess I must have cranked the speed up on this as well as the capacities. I've got TMR starting to stack up here nicely. I like it. We've got grass, we've got silage. We're still okay on the hay. Everything seems to be progressing quite well with our different productions here. I'm just seeing that the old feed cart is back up here real quick, so I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to see, I've had it feeding into this barn. We're starting to get stacked up here, although we do use quite a bit per day. I'm just wanting to make sure that we're spreading the love here a little bit and that we're going to put some into the other barns. So maybe I'll switch this from barn B to barn A for the next few loads, just to make sure that we get enough feed in all of our barns. I have fed the little barn here by the side of the harvest store manually a few times off camera, so that's got some feed in it still. And oh, I thought we were done. We still had 4% left in there. Let's see if I can finish dumping this out. Jump the gun just a little bit here. There we go. Now we're emptied out, and we'll take this up here to the yard. And I'm going to see if we can get through this gate to our right if I swing wide enough here. I know typically I've been going through the exterior gate because it lines up a little bit better. Out on the road there, and then coming up on the other side of this shed. But I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, until we started to pull down here. So now we're going to be in an awkward position. I'm going to try and crank the wheel. This thing is not going to turn tight enough for us, though, so we're going to try and back up and get a better angle here. There we go. Not too bad. Pop a curb or two on the way in. And this will fill up just fine. Well, while that's going, let's jump back over here into the pickup with the bale trailer. I'm going to pick up some of these bales And then we'll get down here and I'll see if we can start this slurry spreader back off. Want to keep that moving. That is kind of a slow job, although, and not the slowest job. It's got a pretty wide work area, actually. Try and pick up as many of these bales as I can over here where I think it needs to drive to get through. It's another part of the job that would be easier if I got a rake and started doing that properly is we'd have more bales per row stacked up because we'd have bigger windrows. I think in general I've kind of gone back and forth between talking myself out of and talking myself into using a rake, and I'm finally there where I've convinced myself that it's the better way to go. It's going to make a lot more sense, especially now that we have this bigger field. When I was just cutting grass on these little tiny fields, I don't think it mattered as much, but now that we're over here on this rather large field, I think it's going to make more sense. So we're over here with the spreader, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull this up manually and then see if I can get Courseplay to pick up where it left off. Looks like that's not going to be a problem. There we go. It's off on its run. Hopefully, when it runs out, it'll be down here close to the other end, so we won't have to waste a lot of time driving around. Seems to be working out for us. And it looks like this semi is finished filling out of that first tank. Got about 45,000 gallons. We'll grab the slurry out of the second tank now as well. And then I suppose I can bring this truck now over to the BGA and started unloading. It's going to take a little while to do that. It's not a speedy process. I've really enjoyed having this little path over here with the gate. It's made getting in and out of the farm a lot easier with these big trucks hauling all of this slurry around. Assuming that I can steer and not run into the fence post, that is. And the next thing that we're going to need to do at some point, I'm going to manually probably run the manure spreader refill today, but maybe we'll start working on the landscaping necessary to give myself a little bit more room on the far side of the biogas facility here so that we can start creating a auto drive course for refilling our digestate as we need to. We'll start that unloading. This is a pretty steep drop off right here, but looking out over here, this is almost the same height, or not that much of a drop. We just need to raise this middle part, and then I think I could actually create a driveway right over here and give myself a nice ability to kind of come in and work my way around on this other side here as well. So we might start working on some landscaping here in a bit. Now, the manure spreader looks like it got empty right as it was pulling into the next row, which is perfect for us because we can maintain this spot with the Courseplay, and I'll know where to come back and get started again. And we can take this guy right on over here and refill our digestate. Keep everything moving and grooving here. Our BGA facility here looks like it's finally full on slurry again, and we've got a solid 6+ loads of digestate here, which is going to be more than enough for us to get things spread on this big grass field over here. I've definitely confirmed at this point, digestate seems to be going a lot farther for us than the slurry was on its own, which is great news. I'm definitely enjoying being able to kind of set this guy up and let him go for a while in between having to micromanage the unloading at the moment. And I'm really hoping that our baler is getting close to done here. I can see him moving on the mini map ever so much closer to the edge of the field up there, and we do have a number of headland passes that have already been taken off, so I don't really think there's that much more for him to go. But as we come up the hill here, I'm seeing, a good probably 10 or so paths left for him to take out. Now, with the slurry spreader turning back into a row right next to a row that it was already on. I'm wondering if he's going to start working his way back the other way when he gets to the end row here. That would be nice, because then we're not trying to spread on top of our bales and everything. However, just in case that's not what's going to happen, we are going to jump back into the pickup here and go pick up some more bales. I think I should be able to beat him down to the end, even if I'm trying to drive carefully so we don't jackknife this truck. Going up and down these hills with the full bale trailer here, it kind of pulls me around a little bit from time to time. Gotta try to drive at a reasonable speed to not get overpowered by the weight of all these bales. And it looks like we're gonna have a perfect number of bales here to top this trailer off and take another load back up to the farm, which is absolutely awesome. And there he goes. Give him a little honk as we go by. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 passes left for the baler. Should it be good times? I don't think we'll get a full trailer out of that. I'm trying to remember how many bales I get per run, but I think it's about 3 per windrow there that we end up getting. So that's not going to be a full trailer, which is fine. This means that we've got one more trailer to go here before we are all done picking up all these grass bales. Looks like the slurry spreader was indeed working its way back down towards the other end of the field here. So we're now on our second pass most of the way through the field. We should make it down to that first round and have plenty of digestate to make it this full round. I'm excited that it's going as far as it is. We're seeing some good nitrogen values on this field as well. The grass only uses up, I want to say 45. What is it going to use? It's going to use 55 kilograms here. So we're putting on more than we're going to use, but that's okay, because this whole field may actually end up getting turned back into like a cornfield or something at some point. We may rotate our grass over into the next field over. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see. I have remembered that we've got the ability to get in and out of this field by following the edge of this one over. We didn't leave much of a shoulder there for vehicles and stuff though. But hey, who knows, maybe at some point I'll just combine this all into one mega field instead of having the grass dividing these two at all. Who knows? However, I think now what I want to do is head back over here to the biogas plant, and we're going to try and do some of that landscaping. So first things first, I need to remember what all of the controls are here. There we go. I can rotate down a little bit so I can get a better sense of height. It's always hard to tell how high you are when you're looking straight down. I'm going to grab the flatten tool, and I'm going to change the brush size to be a little bit bigger here. And then I think if I hold the left mouse button down and then drag over, it's going to give me a nice flat area here. Let me make this just a little bit bigger here now. And I'm going to bring it all the way over here. Perfect. I think I want this whole area to be getting raised up. I'm going to come back over here, and then we're going to try and bring this all the way out and around. I think my original thinking was that I was going to actually mow over here, but there's really not that much of the grass area left, so I think I'd rather try to flatten this out and be able to get in here to our biogas facility. I'm going to try and bring this out towards the water a little bit more. It's not really letting me raise this up much as I get over here to the edge. I don't know if that's because there's water over there or what's going on, but the leveling tool is kind of letting me down on the water edge here. That's all right. And then let me see here if I can... I'm going to bring the level forward a bit, and then we're going to get, this is raise lower, and this is soften. All right, I want to soften the area between these two. Make sure it's not too terribly steep. I don't want to affect the road too much. I think that ought to work out all right for us. So the next step is going to be to grab our road terrain. And I'd like to do this one around it as well. And let's just see if I can make this whole thing a nice gravel area. I don't really see any reason to not make the whole thing gravel. This is going to be a great spot for us to start parking some of our semi-trailers and stuff potentially. So I'm going to bring this whole thing over here. We're going to come back in with some grass and clean up our edges. We've got to make things look a little pretty. I don't want to get too aggressive with this paintbrush and get out on the road though, so we're going to slim it down here a little bit and then see if I can get some nice angles here, clean up the grass, and I want to get a little bit more of a angle this way as well. I've got a nice guard wire there to kind of stay away from. That's going to be all right. Let me see if I can find the grass now. I'm not sure which grass it is. I don't think it's this one. Plants? There we go, grass. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna increase my brush size one step, and we're just gonna paint the side hill with some grass. Something like that looks pretty good. Now we gotta do the same thing over here. Didn't think this was gonna be quite this expensive, but I'd rather have everything look kind of nice. Spend a little bit of money. I think we started this grass stuff with about 10K in the bank and we're almost out of money. Gotta get this done. I don't want to have to take out a loan just to put in some more grass seed. All right, that's looking pretty good. Not too shabby. It's a little bit angled in there, but it's better than what we had before, so I think we're gonna run with it. I do want to do one last bit of touch up here. It's always bothered me just a little bit that we didn't have a bigger driveway area right here. I want to just widen this part out ever so slightly. There we go. And is this side pretty good? This side's pretty good. We'll just widen it out. I keep running over the grass in some of these spots, and it just feels better when it's a little bit wider. Perfect. All right. Well, now we've handled that little bit of landscaping. Let me see where we're at out in the field. I think the spreader ran out of digestate a few minutes ago. It did indeed, but luckily we're in a very convenient spot for taking it out of the field, getting it refilled, and starting ourselves back out. We're right here by the driveway, essentially. Give ourselves a few gears of speed here. AI worker Franz has completed their task. I'm pretty sure that's our baling. I was really hoping to get that job done this episode, so I'm excited to see that Franz is all done. I'll be curious to see how many bales we've got out in the field here. I'm positive they're gonna end up being able to fit onto the trailer that we've got out there right now, but we'll see, I suppose. Looks like our worker is waiting for some more TMR to get made. Now, just because I've got more room here doesn't mean that I can yet find a way to pull this in without having to back up. I'll have to think about this a little bit more. I was hoping to extend our flat area a little bit closer to the water there, and that just didn't happen, but I can back up to this at least, which seems to be working for us. And I'm realizing real quick here, I want to run across the road. We don't want this guy to continue taking this into the barns he's been working on, because I'm going to need to put some into this barn next. So I'm just going to turn off auto drive there for a minute while we're getting the digestate refilled, And we'll move that guy around manually a bit and do some feeding here in just a minute. Now we're all full up here. Let's try out our new driveway, see if this is gonna work. It's a little more uneven than I thought it was gonna be, but I think that's gonna be okay because most of what we're gonna be bringing in here is pretty big equipment. Seems to work all right, and I've got plenty of room to turn, it looks like either way out of that road or out of that driveway onto the road. So I'm pretty happy with how that's turning out right now. I think this is going to work for us. And we'll get this guy brought back out here. Man, I'm feeling pretty good about spring. We've really ripped through these jobs pretty fast this year. And it looks like we've got our course right over here where we left it. Let's see if I can figure out how to get lined back up here. And he should be good to go. I've got a dog barking ballistically in the background. Looks like we're getting a package delivered right now. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. My wife has just signed for it, so apologies in advance if all that dog barking is picking up on the microphone here. However, it looks like we've got this guy moving again. Let's jump over here to our trusty pickup and see if we can get the rest of these bales picked up now. There's a few more bales out here than I was anticipating, actually. Maybe I've been a little bit too confident in my estimates on what we can get onto this trailer. I'm going to work on grabbing the ones closest to our work area for the slurry spreader here first, and then we'll come back and pick up these last few just in case we get full. But I guess now that I'm picking them up, it looks like we're gonna be fine. I was mentally, it looked like there was a lot more sitting out here for a minute than there actually are. So I'm actually gonna pick up the one off of the back of the baler here too. And here we go. Got all of those. We've got, what, 7 left to pick up? Oh yeah, no problem at all. We've got this. Now, one thing that I'm thinking I'm going to do before we haul that baler back up to the farm is I'm going to come and grab these corner bits. There's a lot of grass down here on the corner that I think we could pick up with the baler. So let's see if I can grab that real quick. We can ditch the course. We won't be needing that. And this end, the corner looks pretty clean, right? The baler managed to pick everything up. But on the far end down there, it looks like we left a ton of grass on the corner, probably because it's a sharp 90-degree corner. So it makes sense to just run down there, as long as we've got to run this back up to the farm anyway, and see what we can do to pick that up. It feels like there's probably a solid bale, maybe 2 bales of grass laying on the ground up here. Go ahead and get this thing started. I'm going to try and start on the outside part first here and see if I can get all of this. It's kind of hard to see in the trees here. Maybe grab a little bit better of a camera angle here. And not as much as I thought there was. It looks like a lot of grass, but in practice here, we're not actually seeing a huge percentage increase on the bale that we already had starting to get cooked here in the baler. So we may just be wasting our time here. I'd be happy if we could at least finish off the bale that I've got in the hopper. That would be a nice bonus if I could get out of the trees here. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Oh well, it was worth a try, I suppose. We've got what we can get here. We've got 82% of a grass bale still in this baler. Maybe I'll stop and try and pick up all these little tiny bits along the headland that we appear to have missed on the way back over the hill. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I see just a couple of small piles down on this end. It's not going to get us to a 90% even. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're not going to sit here and struggle with it too long. Now, it's not letting me fold because I still have a bale in here. I wonder if there's at least one full bale that I can exit out. Nope, it's not letting me unload the bale either. So I can't fold it up. Oh no, I can fold it up. Okay. I don't know. I thought it gave me a message saying I couldn't fold it up because there's still a bale in there. I guess I was wrong. Let's zip this thing on in here. We're going to run it up to our grass equipment shed that we've got back here. I'm going to see if we can squeeze past the front of the semi. I didn't really think this through, did I? And we'll just put it back here for now. I don't think I need this 4440 for anything else aside from running the baler right now. So we're just going to leave everything hooked up. I'm going to pull it on in here and we'll shut it down. We do need to fuel this thing up next time before we get started on a job. Hopefully I'll notice that and remember to do that the next time we pull it out of the shed. And I left this truck running again. Let's shut that down. We're getting some slurry in here. We're not quite gonna be full up, but we're gonna just let that stay there because I don't have enough room up here. We're still waiting to unload the tanker that we've got up there right now. With the baler back up at the farm, and now it's time to bring this final load of bales back up there and get that unloaded. This grass has really saved our bacon as far as generating a ton of silage for us so that we can keep feeding our cows. The next cuttings we're going to do out of these fields is going to be 100% hay bales. We'll put as much hay as we can into the harvest store, but then we do have that giant bale shed over on the back side of the farm over there that we'll be able to store any overflow bales into, which I think is going to work out perfectly for us. We haven't used it in a little while, but I haven't torn it down either because I kind of suspected we were going to get to a point where I was going to need bale storage again. So I'm glad we didn't tear that building down when I was talking about doing it originally. And there we go, got the bales all dropped off. Let's bring this trailer back over to the side of that shed over there. I think that's going to be a great place to kind of store it for now. We can just drive through here, I think. There we go. And I've been parking it alongside of this shed right here, I think. There we go. Got it all squared away. Let's see if we can disconnect this real quick. Perfect. And I'm just going to pull this truck forward out of the way. Trying to think. I've got the nurse trailer up here by the other shed that we need to get moved out of the way at some point. We might even need it. We're going to have to do some spraying, some herbicide here at some point, I'm thinking. But I'm not sure about that. I know we did certain levels of tillage get rid of the weeds, and we did do tillage on all of our corn ground this year, I think. So I'm not sure how much spraying I'm going to need to do, but I'm going to get it hooked up anyway, just in case. And I suppose I'm just going to leave it up here for right now. I've got some liquid fertilizer in there. We can always merge that with the tanks that were left over from the planter. We did return the lease on the planter off camera as well, so we don't have the planter, but the 8RX we bought outright, which is over there in cold storage. Let's top off the feed and put another load of feed over here in this small barn. I said I was going to do it a little bit ago, and we need to make sure that we don't forget about that. I'm just noticing my player character seems to have reset to the default. Where did my character go? That's very awkward. I had a entirely different outfit on him at some point, and it seems to have reset to a default. It's always something with Farm Sim. Now, I've got a bunch of bales here that are still in the way. Let's see if I can get them out of the way real quick. There we go. And we'll go ahead and get this thing into this little barn. This barn is quite inconvenient for getting in and out of. I could probably get an auto drive course set up, but it would be a little bit tricky and most likely hit the doors every time I went through. So I don't envision myself ever putting the time into trying to perfect that course. It's been pretty easy to just manually handle the feed for this barn every once in a while. And it looks like our slurry spreader ran out over here. Let's see if I can find it. Here we are, way down in the far corner of the field. So for the convenience, we had the last couple of times, this is probably the most inconvenient spot to need to go and get a refill. That's all right. We'll make it happen. We've got most of the core field done now. This next load will be enough for us to, I think, finish the up-down rows and start working on the headlands on this field. We'll definitely need to refill at least once more, probably a couple more times. Now, I think what I'm going to try is, instead of coming in the closer driveway like I did last time, I'm going to go in the far driveway and then see if I can do I don't even know what you would call it, but I'm going to pull past where I want to go and then back in. So if I come in like this and then just pull up like so, then we start backing in. Can I get it in at the right angle to start refilling? I don't know how big this zone is. Oh, perfect. That's going to work out pretty well then. I should even be able to potentially get an auto drive course to be able to do that. We'll see. And then we should be able to just pull right back out of this into the main road here. A little bumpy, but no problemos. And I'm going to go ahead and run this guy right back out to the field and get him started on spreading some more slurry. And here we are, going to get him going again. Looks like we're all set. And I'll jump back over here. We'll get this feed wagon moving again. The last thing we need to do today before we can start bumping the time forward again is make sure that all of our animal pens are in a good spot from a feed perspective. So I'm going to circle this guy back around and get him refilling on the TMR, and then we'll check the animal menu real quick and see what our animals have been up to today. Our TMR production is still going strong. Lots of silage. Hay is starting to go down, but we should have enough for a while. And our slurry is still going strong. Then if we hop over here to the animals, we've got lots of feed here. We got 3 full days of feed there. We've got lots and lots of days here in the other barn. And then this is the one we were just filling manually. We got a little over 2 days in there. So I think this next load is going to go in there as well. Since we are already in manual mode, it just makes sense to keep loading this up. And we'll move the time forward here, I think. I do want to finish spreading all of my slurry in the month of April here before I move the clock forward too much. So I am going to give the worker a little bit of time to run that job, I believe. There's not that much left to it, but if I tab around here to bring up the course play menu, you can see we got about 39 minutes to go, not counting whatever refill time I'm going to need. So I'm going to need to run this guy over and refill him at least one more time. So I've probably got about an hour of actual time left to get this job done, but most of that's going to be unattended time, which gives me plenty of time to keep moving some feed around here as well. So I'm going to be just running up some of these smaller, repetitive odd jobs that we find ourselves in with the dairy farm here. And I believe we're going to cut this episode off at this point. And next episode, we'll be jumping into some more of our summer type activities, which is probably going to be getting back into our next cutting of hay here in a couple of months. And that means that we're going to have to figure out what kind of a rake we should purchase, or a merger maybe for the farm. So I'm going to take a look at that. I feel like a merger would be a great purchase. I'm just not sure how well that works with course play. What would be nice is to make sure that the way the courses go up and down, that you're merging your down and back into the same side so that you're getting one bigger pile. So I'm going to look into that. Maybe we'll find some good equipment to add to the farm here in the next episode. I find adding new stuff to the farm is always a good time. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. That's all for today. Kedrick out.